So why don't we begin the rolling process? Let's get our second druid underway. So Slaso, you're volunteering. Will you please type exclamation point 1D100 in chat and let us know, do we have a female character or a male character, or perhaps the 10% chance to get a multi-class character early? $28. We have a female character. And as for the race, Solace, will you please type exclamation point 1D10 to help us determine which race our character is? Stops on a 1. A Dragonborn. Interesting. A Dragonborn. Well, with Maddie Morgs, there is an optional and other, right? You have the 5 chromatic and you have the 5 metallic. Pardon. I allow, if we roll the small chance, to have other colors. Brown, cobalt, shadow. And so, let's have Soname. Soname, will you please type exclamation point 1D12 to help us determine which kind of a Dragonborn we have? Stops on a 5. We have a Copper Dragonborn. A Copper Dragonborn. A female Copper Dragonborn. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't hit 8, which is other Solace. But we did pop a Copper Dragon earlier out of Tyranny of Dragons. So congrats to Cat and Raven on that. Alright, Hark. Will you give me a percentile roll to let me know this character's disposition? What is her alignment? Exclamation point 1D100, please. Wolfblade, you'll be right back. All right. Hey, when you're back, Wolfblade, I'll call on you for a roll. 68. Lawful evil. Ooh, just barely. Just barely into the lawful evil. So I wonder if she's not like an underling. We have our neutral evil, Himedare class president, trifling, senpai character. This could be an underling? I don't know. We're going to keep building and see. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, we already know our level. We're going to be level 17. And we already know that we're going to be a druid, a Wildfire Circle druid. What we don't know is of the 4 ability score improvements we're given at 4, 8, 12, and 16, are we going to replace any of them with feats? And to provide an answer to that question, Clicker, will you please roll a D100, exclamation point 1D100 in chat. And you will determine if we take feats. With a 39, we do not. It's all stat bumps. Just stat bumps. Thank you, Clicker. Now it's time for our background. Daly, are you still here? Are you in the background, Daly? If so, can you roll 1d20 in chat? Daily may not be. If anyone else out in chat would like to help out. Oh, Wolf. All right, Wolf, you're back. Wolf, will you please roll a d20 in chat? Exclamation point 1d20 to help us determine our character's background. A 13. An Outlander. An Outlander. Okay. And there are 10 different kinds of Outlander origins. And so, in particular, we are going to be Outlander number something. And so, I will need someone to roll. I wonder, Bewitchcraft, are you here? Or Dysfemist, are you still hanging out? Grimvex? If not, then I'm going to go back to those of you who are here in chat, and we'll have a second round of rolling. I want to offer to people who might be lurking or are waiting for an opportunity first. Alright, that may not be the case, and so, unless anyone else wants to pop up in chat and volunteer, let's go back. Let's go back to, Soname, will you roll a d10 in chat? Exclamation point 1d10, please. Let's find out what kind of Outlander we are. I'm already getting an idea for this character as an anime trope. Outlander 8. I don't know what that means just yet, but we have a placeholder, and that's absolutely fine. All right. Next up, we already have our class and subclass. We don't need to worry about that, and we don't need to worry about class features because we're given our class feature, our extra spells, by our subclass. And so, Hark, do we have another young child prodigy or young adult? Hark, I would like to ask you to roll a D100 and let us now know how old our character is. Stops on a 40, so she is an adult. And for a Dragonborn, Dragonborns mature quickly. At the age of 2, they're already kind of equivalent. Honestly, this could be rolled back some here in our builder. At the age of 2, they're already about the capabilities of a 10-year-old human child. But still, as an adult, we have 15 plus 1d, 23 years. And so I will roll a 23-sided die, and I will add 15 years to it. Boop, 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 so you all can see what I'm doing here. And let's find out how old she is. She is 36 years old. And now let's determine her height and her weight. Dragonborn start at 5'6", and we have a 2d8 height modifier. So let's have Solace. Will you please roll 1d8? And Solace, while you're doing that, can I have Slaso? Slaso, can you please roll 4d6 in chat? That's going to be ideal, bond, flaw, and weight modifier number 1. So you're getting kind of a multi-hit combo here, Slaso. So we have ideal 2, bond 2, flaw 1, and then we're floating one of our weight modifiers is 5. And Solace gave one of our height modifiers to be 2. Yeah, aren't you glad that's not an attribute roll? My goodness. Wolfblade, will you please roll a d8 for me in chat? And then... who else do we have hanging out here? Clicker, will you please roll a d6 in chat? So we got a 6 from Wolfblade. And a 5 from Clicker. Okay. So we're starting at 5'6". We're adding 8 inches to her height. So she is going to be 5 feet 14 inches, 5 feet 14 inches tall, which is 6'2". And we're going to take this same 8 and multiply it by our weight modifier, which was 10. So we're adding 80 pounds to her base weight, and so she is going to be, so let's see, 25 is going to be 200, and so she is 255 pounds at 6'2". She's a big girl. What is that in centimeters and kilos? I don't know offhand. Though, if someone wants to put that through a translator, a conversion, I mean, 6'2" and 255 pounds of Dragonborn. Oh, so Clicker, you can look her right in the eye. Okay. Hi, cats. You're going crazy. Why? Okay. All right. Cats are going to be cats, everyone. All right, good. We have a lot of placeholders now. We can go through the process of discovering who she is now that we have these numbers. It doesn't matter we don't have the... Oh, you know what? There's still... there's 2 more numbers we need. I'm sorry. Let's have... Wolfblade, will you please roll a D8 in chat to give us our first personality trait? Stops on a 1. And then for the last personality trait, Hark, why don't we have you give it like 20 seconds just to be safe? Hark, why don't you roll a D8 in chat and give us our second personality trait? Hey, well, Wolf, you're going to see what that translates to for this character. And I hope for all of you who participate in this, you enjoy seeing your character come to life because of your effort and your imagination and your contribution. The one's getting ready to pounce on the other. He's like hunkered down, and he's just about ready to do the butt wiggle. Concentration broken. Ah, well. Hark, are you there? It's safe. You should be able to roll a D8. You gotta get to bed. I can post the PDF. Yeah, please do in the RPG workshop, Saname. Hark! Hearken unto me. I need you to roll a D8 in chat to give us our final variable here for her personality. Hark! You've betrayed me again for the last time. Personality trait 5. It's fine. I understand. This is a big night, critical role Pokemon. There's a lot going on. I'm just some rando making druids on Twitch, so. Oh. This is why life is fun. And I'm happy to share it with all of you. All right, now, if you're new here, we do things a little differently. I begin character creation with the background. Our background is going to tell us so much about our character. Even more than the druid and the racial information. So let's go to Outlander. These are listed alphabetically. Boop, here we go. Athletics and survival are going to be our proficiencies. One type of musical instrument and a language of our choice. So we're going to get one language of our choice. And which instrument are we going to choose? This is on a D10. And so, Solace, will you please roll a D10 in chat? And let's find out which instrument she plays. Six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, a lyre. All right. L-Y-R-E, lyre. Or lyra? I've heard it pronounced in a couple different ways. It is, think of it like an early guitar. In a lot of cases, or wait, or is that more of a harp? Am I thinking of the lute? I will double check for you. I will double check for you. I'm getting my how dare I get my medieval instruments mixed up? Come on. Okay, yep, the lyre, I'm sorry, is the harp. The lute is more of the early guitar. So there you go. We're learning things, everyone. Yeah. Or a lyre or a lyre. Hey, no claws in the chair. I love you, but I don't like what you do. Yeah, I'm gonna let you figure that one out. That's dad speak from disappointed in you. Yeah. You gonna come and say hi to everyone? There you go. Make up for your folly. All right. So she plucks the lyra. Going back to character creator, to chapter 4 for the backgrounds. Oh, y'all got sniffed. We're gonna get a staff, which, you know, your DM could say, yeah, that's a quarterstaff. I'm not gonna worry about that as a weapon because I'm gonna just summarize it as strength weapons and dex weapons. A hunting trap, a trophy from an animal you killed, which could also... We didn't look at the trinket on the last character. I keep saving them for last, and I keep forgetting about the last thing. Oh, stop. So let's add some of this here. We have a quarterstaff. We have a hunting trap. We have an animal trophy, and this is going to be trinket number something. Have a great night, Wolf. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for supporting the channel as you have. It means a lot to me, and I'm glad that you got to get your collection started with us tonight. Traveler's clothes. And a belt pouch containing 10 GP. Very good. Now, what is our origin? If you recall, we rolled a d10 to find out which kind of Outlander we are. We rolled number 8. And number 8, we are a tribal nomad. So in the anime, I guess we are we're the exchange student, despite us being very old. Now, I don't know, we might end up having a teacher role, but this is very fun to still think about how she would be involved as an Outlander living out in the wilds. You know, she could have learned to harvest these natural forces and has been brought in as a teacher of the other druids who are going to this haughty-taughty academy in this primarily elven, dwarven city. So she's sort of like the foreign attractive teacher in this slice of life. All right, Click. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Our background feature is Wanderer. You have an excellent memory for maps and geography, and you can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around you. In addition, you can find food and fresh water for yourself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game, water, and so forth. We're good at surviving out in the wilds. What are you looking at? Licking your nose help? No. What is her personality now? Her personality, her first personality trait is number 1. I'm driven by a wanderlust that led me away from home. As well, number 5, I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Oh, this is definitely going to put her at odds with the culture of this place, of this school. I place no stock in wealthy or ill-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. Very stern teacher is the vibe I'm getting. A very stern teacher who doesn't care that the kids have money. She's lawful evil. She goes by the rules, and she's looking out for herself and her job and her craft. She's putting that above, you know, letting Miss Hottie Toddy, I'm the princess queen of student council, get my way. She might see how she manipulates other teachers, but here we have a bit of a hard ass. All right, her ideal is number 2, greater good. It is each person's responsibility to make the most happiness for the whole tribe. And you can say, well, hold on, Maddie Morgs, you have a lawful evil character. It clearly states LE, and the greater good clearly states in parentheses that this is a good ideal. How in the heck, how in the HE double hockey sticks can you have a good ideal and a lawful evil character? There's nothing that is mutually exclusive between alignment and a person's ideal. Remember, the alignment is the expression of oneself, the brain-to-mouth filter, or the results of what gets past that. She's a snobby teacher, but knows knowledge needs to be passed down. I like it, Wolfblade. And so, yeah, she's, Snape. Snape would be a lawful evil teacher, in my opinion. And so she doesn't care who you are. She doesn't care who your parents are. She doesn't care how much money you have. You have to take your survival lessons. And you know what? Everyone else in survival class, had to sit on an anthill for 30 seconds. You are no exception. I don't care. And so she's direct. I wouldn't say she's rude, How about she's not tactful? She's brusque, and not tactful. And even for this greater good, you know, it's every individual's responsibility to make happiness for everyone. And if you don't, you are failing your tribe. And so she is going to be a hard ass about stuff because she's going to be a drill instructor to these kids. She doesn't want them to fail the tribe. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you very much for the raid. All of the Voivode Kohotek lings that came along. To arms, hello, the end of days. Oh, it's so soon. It's not even 2020 yet. But welcome. Did I pronounce that correctly? Voivode Kohotek. Or is that Voivode? Voivode Kohotek? Still, thank you so much for the raid. What were you all up to before coming to visit us and say howdy? I have a cat off screen, so if I'm looking over, it's because she is getting into mischief, and I do not want that to happen. So she's going to instill this kind of drill instructor personality. Or she's going to have it because she needs the kids to learn, especially if they're stuck-up rich kids, you know, in this sort of anime trope that we're developing for the story based on the characters. You know, she needs to bust through that and get to their, you know, get to their heart. Well, I mean, it's a reference for sure. There's a lot of references to the end of days. And now, if you're talking about something in particular, you're certainly welcome to share that too. Now, what is her bond? What is her bond to the world? We rolled number 2 in chat. An injury to the unspoiled wilderness of my home is an injury to me. Now, does this have to be just her home? Could this be wilderness in general? When you're rolling your background, you can take it as specifically as you wish, or you can use it as inspiration and step to the side and say, can I replace something? You know, Mr. or Miss DM, my friend, can I take this concept of a bond and perhaps play it in a different way? And you are absolutely welcome to do so. She might take an injury to the wilderness as an injury to her. You know, as a wildfire druid, she might see injury not just as, well, you know, there's a forest fire. Forest fires are natural. In fact, that's the whole point of this wildfire circle. In fact, if we're talking selfishness, as she is lawful evil, she might have even developed this technique. And the other druids in her Dragonborn circle kicked her out. Because they saw that she was harming the fields and the forests. When in fact she just wanted to save them from even worse wildfires by having controlled burns. And so the fact that she had these druids that were just letting things grow and clog up and you know, it was an abundance. It was everything she despises, the laziness, the other tropes in affluent people in this stereotype. It was a natural form of this. And she got disgusted, she left. And she found a place that would, you know, let her practice her craft and would even give her money and a place to stay. And she could teach a future generation. And whereas the other druids, you know, would have other measures against her, she could actually teach young kids that this is actually a part of life. And that decadence, if she's this, you know, stern, sort of drill instructor character, apparently, that decadence leads to destruction. It, you know, the tree that's not tested by the wind falls over when it becomes too heavy by its own boughs and leaves. It's a movie I'm referencing called The End of Days. Well, I'm happy to learn that. Although, but is it spoilers if I ask? Then is this like Martian invasion? Is this religious apocalypse? What type of an End of Days are we looking at here? End of Days. And now for her flaw. Look, we're all flawed creatures. You, me, everyone else here. We have our flaws. And the characters we make here are no different. Her flaw is number 1. I am too enamored of ale, wine, and other intoxicants. This is such an anime teacher. Of course, she's stern at the school, and then afterwards, she goes home. I mean, in an anime, like, she'd go to her fridge. I know we're talking about, you know, medieval fantasy. And she'd have just a fridge full of beer. And she would just go and relax. She's probably, again, going back into anime stereotypes, because this is the story, this is the way the story is being written. She's 36, probably isn't married. Probably has her family back in her circle, who she doesn't get along with because she has an alternative view. Is probably always asking, when you gonna get married? When you gonna lay eggs? If you're Dragonborn, lay eggs. Some might prefer a live birth. I don't know. When are you gonna get married? When are you gonna start laying eggs? I want a grand Dragonborn child. You know, and she's a woman in nature. So she's that anime teacher that, of course, is, you know, she's very stern. Probably is very well built. If you get my implication, I'm keeping things PG-13. Is probably very well built. But loosens up at home when she can enjoy the intoxicants that maybe her people didn't have back in her village, and she's just grown to enjoy them. But she enjoys them in private, and so you know, she has all these societal pressures to find a mate and to lay some eggs and to teach kids and to one day return home because maybe she wants the approval of her parents for her methods, even though they find it just as wild as her Wildfire. This is the beauty of character building. And look, for any of you who just came here, we have an entire character made, and look at the state of our character sheet. By the way, End of Days, what were y'all doing over on the channel there? I would presume role-playing, but what kind? Can you give a little, like a plug or a blurb about who you guys are and what you guys and girls do? So now we've built her character. Our character's character is there. She has motivation. We can picture her in our eyes, in our mind's eye. Arena battle. Oh, so is it the participants are all like, tonight we're all level 10 and we're gonna have a free-for-all kind of a thing? I'm exploring around Twitch and I would like to ask, with all due respect, what is the appeal? Chonky Bonky, look, I am happy you're here. You are welcome, and so is your question. The appeal to role-playing, the appeal to our workshop, what in particular do you have a question? Because you're invited into our channel here, and I would love to be an ambassador of these concepts to those who might be questioning them. Oh, you found me, came over with the raid? Oh, cool. That's fine, too. End of Days, you and Chonky Bonky and others, you are welcome to pop in here, relax, make yourselves at home. You're sitting in a game store, effectively. You're sitting in a game store, and we're having table talk. In particular, we're discussing D&D and some character creation concepts. But this is just a relaxed atmosphere. And if none of you feel that way, let me know, because it's not how I want to run this place. I've been playing D&D for a bit, but some things are still new. Well, you are certainly welcome. We're primarily a D&D workshop channel, and if you have questions, you can ask here, and especially on our Discord, we have an entire mentor network. So if you have specific questions and you want to get a couple different answers, then you're welcome to ask there as well. Newcomers are always welcome. All right, we've discovered her background. Let's discover now who she is as a Dragonborn. As a Dragonborn, your strength score increases by 2 and charisma increases by 1. So we're going to float these 2 numbers until later. Don't worry too much about it. We're not getting into the math and the crunch of things just yet. We're still concepting, having this concept of her in what we call fluff. This is roleplay, backstory, narrative. We have our alignment, our size, our base walking speed's 30 feet, which means we can climb at 15, swim at 15, and fly at 0. We randomly rolled our draconic ancestry as a copper Dragonborn. And so we're going to have the ability to spit acid in a 5 by 30 foot line. So we're going to get acid resistance, and we have a 5 by 30 foot line of acid. DC, we're going to have to calculate, is based off of con. We'll come back for that. But those we attack need to make a dex save. And that is going to end up being at level 17. Ooh, 5d6. 5d6 damage. My question more specifically is, how does the roleplay work? And does Twitch interact with the roleplay, or are we merely spectating? No, you're not breaking the immersion. Chunky Bonky, this is absolutely the place to ask these questions. You're not breaking the immersion because this is an interactive workshop. And so, if anything, you're actually in... Aha, you fell into my trap. You... Chunky. You're doing just as I had predicted. You're increasing immersion by asking questions about the things that we're discussing, because it is a workshop. Twitch can interact with people's games in a lot of different ways. Some people have very fancy overlays through D&D Beyond, where you can see characters' hit points and other things, like moving, like going up and down, or you can follow their stats on different displays that is from the broadcaster's computer, or it's a Twitch overlay. You can get very simple. It's a bunch of friends at a dining room table, you know, eating potato chips, and maybe they have a couple like costume pieces on, and they're just having a fun. We call it beer and pretzels D&D. You know, there's some laughs, maybe a couple jokes. There's a tense combat to kind of spice things up. Not that it's a bad story, but in that case, you'd be spectating, like you're along for the ride as this group of friends or family are getting together and telling a story, which you are getting to watch unfold in front of you. You know, like a movie. It's just that the movie is passed down to you in this, you know, through, well, one of our oldest methods of communication as human beings, through the oral tradition of storytelling by mouth. So you can get very interactive ones. On Tuesdays, I actually roleplay to practice what I preach. You know, if I'm going to be here at a digital lectern to teach people how to play D&D, I darn well better know how to run it myself. And so I run on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, it's not very high tech. When I paint a scene, I put a picture up on the screen that broadly represents the area that the characters are in, and I'll describe the area, and then the characters interact with themselves and the environment in a way that they specify. And as they do, I make sure that I'm paying attention to you all out in chat, because if you have a question or a comment, or you're doing some side role playing with other people, I want to pay attention and try and incorporate that into the scene. In some channels, also, you could donate some bits, or like a PayPal donation, and you can. We have it on Tuesday. It's called Being a Fickle God. And if you choose to be a fickle god, you can, put your thumb on the scales of fate, and, if the party's in a pinch, you could throw in 100 bits, and that might give them just that slight advantage they need to get out of there. Or, if you think that, they're congratulating each other like, oh, my, that fight was easy, you could become a fickle god, and just as, like the ancient Greek gods, on Olympus would sit around and push mortals around on a like a chessboard. You could sponsor maybe a couple extra monsters to pop in just to make sure that they're staying humble. So it's my stream has various levels of interactivity, and other people's do as well. It's not a consistent experience because every story is different. Dungeons and Dragons has a core set of rule books, though you'd be challenged to find two different people who run D&D the same way. So, Chonky Bonky, it was kind of an abbreviated response, but was that good enough for you to get an idea, at least a starting point, of who we as role players are, what we do, how we do things? And if you have other questions, you are absolutely allowed to ask them. I mean, you're here. You stepped over the threshold. You took that chance. You asked your question. Excellent. Yeah, because Chonky Bonky, when it comes down to it, as human beings, the unique gift that sets us apart from all other animals, you can argue opposable thumbs, is the ability to tell a story. Storytelling is hardwired into us. All races, cultures, religions, all around the world. Both when we were separate tribes growing up and developing ourselves, and now in our modern world where, we could end up halfway around the world on a plane in a day and be completely immersed in another culture. This is a core human tenet of our existence, is the ability to tell a story. And Dungeons and Dragons taps into this unifying piece of humanity that is what makes us who we are as a species. What are the do's and don'ts of D&D? Every table is going to be different with the minutia of the do's and don'ts. Some tables, burp, fart, and cuss. We'll talk about, have a little, slap and tickle of the barmaids. We'll bring up mature stuff. Or maybe you want to run a horror campaign, and you have no problem describing, blood and gore, or the psychological traumas of war, and or you could go Eldritch horror, and we're delving into insanity and compulsions. You can have beer and pretzels D&D, which is honestly, make a character. We're gonna go through a dungeon, kick down the door, kill monsters, and have a blast. Trying to outdo each other with our kill counts. And so every table is going to be different, right? Depending on who's playing. The different feels, the things that you can say, the topics that will be explored. As long as you all are there to have fun together, right? You're contributing to whatever story you're making together, and you all are having fun. That is the general goal and the general do of D&D. The general don't, therefore, is, don't be a that guy at the table. Hi, cats. Can I help you? Okay, you're just being rowdy. Oh, welcome back, After Fav. So yeah, it would really depend. So here, Chonky, on occasion, well, I'll preface this by saying generally we keep things no worse than PG-13. Right? We're allowed one F-bomb per stream if it comes up. It's not usually from me. And we keep things We keep things rather presentable. Now, we do get into pretty heavy topics here in the context that we're exploring it as a societal aspect. We're exploring it because it's meaningful to the character and not just lol lol lol. If you have other questions, please do ask. All right, so we have acid resistance because, hey, we almost have acid blood as a copper dragonborn. We can spit acid, and it is our heritage. So we have our breath weapon, we have our ancestry, we have our damage resistance. And we can speak, read, and write common and draconic. Excellent. Now it is time to become a druid. Remember that our subclass mechanics are going to be found in this supplement. So I'm only adding 17 levels of what all druids, regardless of their subclass, are going to get. So we have 17 D8 hit die. Because we're 17th level and we're a D8 hit die character. That is a pool of healing that we can tap into while we rest that doesn't consume magic or potions or the like. We are going to get some armor proficiencies with light armor, medium armor, and we can also use shields proficiently. Druids have a particular list of weapons that they can use, or at least be proficient with. I'm simply going to write druid weapons here instead of placing them all on the list. We are also proficient with the herbalism kit. And lastly, well, not necessarily lastly, we are proficient in our intelligence and saving and wisdom saving throws. So if a spell or effect challenges these, we're going to be better at it than our other saving throws. We are also going to become proficient in 2 different skills. We're going to choose from Arcana, Animal Handling, Insight, Medicine, Nature, Perception, Religion, or Survival. And that might seem like a lot. You know what, though? It's going to inform our choice. Again, go back to who our character is. She exists. She makes choices. And yes, we've kind of assigned her this anime trope as we're building our school and our fun story. Because this is just naturally how this is occurring with our random rolls. Given who she is, where would she be good at doing things in life? I'm driven by a wanderlust that led me away from home. I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. The greater good, it is each person's responsibility to make the most happiness for the whole tribe. An injury to the unspoiled wilderness of my home is an injury to me, and I am too enamored of ale, wine, and other intoxicants. As we've discovered her, she's certainly this drill sergeant style character. She wants the best for the kids, but she's not going to cut them any slack. Hey, Shukan, welcome. I don't know why you're getting ads. You shouldn't. I've had that happen to me at a channel, though, before. You're preparing for a campaign that you and some people are running on Tuesday. Oh, cool. Are you streaming that, or is that a private game end of days? Why did your sub run out? Oh, shoot. Yeah, I don't see the nachos and dip by your name, Shukan. I don't know. But there you go. You're back with it. Oh, 8 months? Shukan, we almost have a Twitch baby. Oh my goodness. So I'm kind of I'm getting roll for the Twitch baby racing class. And today's private game, but I'm in a campaign already that's streamed. Oh, end of days. If you join our Discord, you are welcome to share links to your Twitch broadcasts with the rest of us. And if there's a way that I can have my platform help others as well, because you being here and chatting helps me, I would love to do so. Shukan, we had 2 dice sets pulled, and we've had a good handful of figures. We also popped a couple boxes. We popped an Avernus, the Last Tyranny of Dragons, and a Storm King's Thunder. But I think there's a little over half of the capsules left. I think she enjoys nature. She pays attention to it, and so she's gonna be knowledgeable in nature. She can also teach nature, and she's probably also knowledgeable in medicine. And I would like to point out that in D&D, medicine doesn't just have to be physical injury. As often we're like, well, why would I learn medicine? I could just cast a cure spell and fix things. There's some things that, you know, curative magic may not be able to fix. And bear in mind too that some people need medicine up here, and I'm not talking about aspirin for a headache. You know, she might be that tough love, you know, counselor. You know, she might be that emotional, like that pillar, that solid rock. And she could offer...
I believe this should cover the basic paint set and shipping.
The basic paint set? Oh, okay. Well, the basic paint set is only $25. So if you want a basic paint set, then, I mean, certainly that's generous for the shipping, Shukan. I don't know if all the 25 would be needed to go towards that. If you're talking about... Like, are you talking about this one? Oh, you want the monster paint set. Yeah, oh, no, the monster paint set is 80, yes. But this is only 25. Oh, you want both? That said, you might have an idea in one of those gotcha capsules. Alright, so we have our skills. Medicine and nature. We can wild shape. We can turn into an animal twice per day. We can fly, breathe water, swim, etc. We become that animal. It's a really neat ability. We're gonna get our Druid circle. That's our subclass. We're gonna worry about that in just a little bit. Well, actually, no. We're gonna worry about it now because we don't get our next ability until level 18. So close. We're a level 17 Druid. We almost have our timeless body.
Monster paint extra 2 shipping.
Very well. Shukan, tomorrow I will go to the store and grab you the Adventurers paint set and a monster paint set. Do you want the brush set as well, Shukan? I also have the 3 brush set. That's $10. So let's see. 25, 25 plus 80 is 105. So plus 10 is 115. And you donated 120. So yes. Okay. The full with the size of the monster paint set, I might need 5 for the, because it'll have to be in a slightly larger box than normal. But with that 5, it should be able to be pretty well taken care of, Shukan. Especially because I'm going to make sure it is very well bubble padded. So we have the basics, right? A Druid is a full caster class. You're drawing your power from nature. Our circle is what's going to give us our flavor of Druid. The Circle of Wildfire. Druids who are members of the Circle of Wildfire understand the necessity of destruction, such as how a forest fire promotes growth. These Druids bond with a primal spirit that harbors destructive tendencies, allowing the Druids to use their power to create controlled flames that help flora and fauna reproduce and grow. You have formed a mystical bond with a Wildfire spirit, a primal being of creation and destruction. Your link with this spirit grants you access to certain spells. At 2nd level, you learn the Firebolt cantrip. So we are going to learn Firebolt. When you reach certain levels in this class, you gain access to the spells listed for that level in the Circle of Wildfire spells table. And so we're going to come down here, and we have our Wildfire spells. And they begin at 2nd level. I made that mistake on the last character. Oh, by the way, Shukan, will you please roll a percentile in chat? There's a trinket that this person's carrying around, which is going to be a part of her story, and I don't know which trinket it is yet. So the bonus spells we get are going to be locate animals or plants, scorching ray, fireball, and plant growth, aura of life, and fire shield. And lastly, flame strike and raise dead. Firebolt was our given cantrip here. And at this level, we know 4 cantrips. I'm not going to list them, but I'm going to put the placeholders. And I also know the slots. It was 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 1. We're casting as a Druid. Spells prepared equals Druid level plus Wisdom modifier. We cast off of Wisdom. And we can also Wild Shape CR1 twice per day, or the Wildfire subclass feeds into the Wild Shape. So we've done a little extra prep. So we have our circle spells. We summon Wildfire. You can summon the primal spirit bound to your soul. As an action, you can expend 1 use of your Wild Shape feature to summon your Wildfire spirit, rather than assuming a beast form. The spirit appears in an unoccupied space of your choice you can see within 30 feet of you. Each creature within 10 feet of the spirit, other than you, when it appears, must succeed on a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC or take 2d10 fire damage. The Wildfire spirit is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. See this creature's game statistics below. You determine the spirit's appearance. Some spirits take the form of a humanoid figure made of gnarled branches covered in flame, while others look like beasts wreathed in fire. In combat, the Wildfire spirit shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. The only action it can take on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take one of the actions in its stat block, or to take the dash, disengage, help, or hide action. The Wildfire spirit manifests for 1 hour until it is reduced to 0 hit points, or until you use your wild shape again. Pardon me. So here's the stat block. If you're using this character sheet, you can drop it into your companion sheet if you wish. It does become more survivable along with you. It does have a ranged weapon attack called Flame Seed, and it does have fiery teleportation. The spirit and each willing creature of your choice within 5 feet of it teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Each creature within 10 feet of the space that the spirit left must succeed on a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC or take 1d6 plus 2 fire damage. That's, they're surrounding us. Everyone quick, get in. And as the swarms are pouring in, your spirit vanishes and you reappear like up on the cliffside. But where you were, there's like a firebomb left behind for the swarms of insects that were crawling up to you or whatever. Pardon. We are going to get... we have Summon Wildfire. We also have Enhanced Bond. The bond with your Wildfire spirit enhances your destructive and restorative spells. Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points while your Wildfire spirit is summoned, roll a d8 and you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell equal to the number rolled. In addition, when you cast a spell with a range other than self, the spell can originate from you or your Wildfire spirit. It's acting a bit like a familiar. Flames of Life. You gain the ability to turn death into flames of vitality. When a small or larger creature that you can see dies within 30 feet of you or your Wildfire spirit, you can use your reaction to cause primal flames to spring from the body. When a creature you can see touches these flames, the creature regains hit points or takes fire damage, your choice, equal to 2d10 plus your wisdom modifier. The flames vanish after a creature has touched them or after 1 minute. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum once. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now they're saying small because this is avoiding the bag of rats trick, if any of you are familiar with that. Blazing Endurance. The bond with your Wildfire spirit is exceptionally strong. Even fatal blows only fuel your defiance. If you drop to 0 hit points and don't die outright, you drop to 1 hit point instead and gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your Druid level, and each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you that you can see takes fire damage, equal to 2d10 plus your Druid level. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Our Copper Dragonborn, here in this anime academy of Richie Rich Snoots, is here to be kind of the drill sergeant, the real life, what happens in nature and such. She is their teacher. Shukan, she's kind of the one that's like a super strict teacher, but at home she just sort of flops down on the pillow and drinks a beer, and gets a little bit more loosey goosey, given her personality. Katniss, I'm kind of awake again. You passed out a bit, but I left my phone on and the chat. Well, welcome back, Kat. Though, if you need to log out and go back to sleep, please do so. Take care of yourself. Do what you gotta do, huh? Now we're ready, after discovering our character, who she is, how she makes decisions, what has her life been like to this point. That's the important part. Her scores will follow this. Her ability scores. A slice of life magic high school fighting high school D&D might be how this might be a little bit of that in there too. But with all the characters we've made, Shukan, this is absolutely where this story is taking us. Oh, the little Babu's awake. Got it. Hi, Babu. Come on now, you got to be nice to Mama. She's got to get some sleep. And I know you're probably really tired. It's tough being a baby. You got all this growing to do. There's stuff all around you, you know, to look at, and you're hungry again. Because where was the last time you ate? Where'd that go, huh? Well, I know it's tough being a baby, but you got to do it. You got to be a baby for the rest of us, because we can't be. Yeah, Magic High School would definitely be a comfortable broad category for it, Shukan. Yes, our second Druid, Katniss. All right, she is absolutely wise. Absolutely wise. She has been through stuff. She's knowledgeable. She has this instinct. And, you know, with, I'm driven by a wanderlust. I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Her charisma, I think, is going to also be notable. And I think that we can give her a, something, reasonable for her charisma. She doesn't have to, well, coming across as intimidating, she's not specifically intimidating in that regard. Although we could always have asked our DM to give that to us instead of something else. I digress. I think she does naturally have a very strong body. So 15, 14. Oh, you know what? She drinks a lot. We're going to go 14. 13. 12. 10 and 8 in charisma. Oops, 15 was supposed to be up here. Wakes up at this time because it's 2 more hours. Oh, gotcha. Well, there's plenty of D&D parents here in this community, Katniss. So we're good company if you ever need to talk, or there's a lot of people raising babies and toddlers and up. So you're welcome to kind of commiserate and join the club. That's what's beautiful about this hobby. I see all sorts of parents bonding with their kids. Or, like, you know, uncles with nephews and nieces, teaching them how to play and all the skills that they learn. I know we're talking about a wee bab for you, but no more sleep for you. Gotcha. So with this, she has a 9 charisma, starting out. And she has a 15 strength. We're going to get to add 8 points As at level 4, 8, 12, and 16, we can add 2 points to 1 stat or 1 point to 2 stats. And I would feel comfortable. Let's boost her wisdom. Let's boost her wisdom up 5. And let's boost her... We have 3 points left. Her strength by 1. Whoops. I typed 5 instead of... There we go. And we get 2 more points. By Wanderlust, I need place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. It's each person's responsibility to make the most of what happens. An injury is an injury to me. I'm enamored of ale, wine, and other intoxicants. Maybe she doesn't have as high if she's enamored by it. You know what? I want to redo these stats in thinking about it. She might not actually have the best constitution, which is fine. Maybe she relies on her intrinsic healing magic to a degree. What if, and follow me here, what if her constitution then is actually an 8? You know, she actually can succumb. Like, she relies on her magic a lot. But what if she can actually more easily succumb to the effects of alcohol or other things like that? Because her body, you know, something might have happened where, you know, nature took over at some point. Because maybe she should have been dead. Wildfire is supposed to bridge that life and death gap. What if she was supposed to be dead, but nature instead took root, you know, in her, and she's alive because of it, but her body still has that initial, like, she's so receptive because her body is frail without the support of the magic that she can cast. And that's also why she's such a hard ass, because she knows she almost died and how scary it was, and she doesn't want that to happen to other people, despite her demeanor. I would challenge you all out there, if none of you have made a Constitution 8 character, this might be an awesome opportunity to do so. I'm still going to give that 15 to Wisdom. By the way, we get 1 Charisma and 2 Strength. That's floating from being a Dragonborn. I'm going to go 15, 14, 13, 12, and 10 instead. Kat says, I just noticed your comments that pop up for you are behind more than just a second or two. What do you mean the comments that pop up? This is going to put our strength to 15. This is going to put our charisma to 11. And now we're going to go back to those 8 points. And why don't we spend... Let's spend 5 of those 5 of the 8 to bring her... She's very wise. We have 3 left. Let's bring our charisma up to 12. So now we have 2 remaining. And from here, we have a couple options. You might be looking at that odd strength score and getting an itch. You're like, we got to make that even to get that extra boost. Remember, mechanically, even 1 extra point in your strength score gives you mechanical benefits for push, pull, drag, lift, etc. If we have 2 other points, and I still want to keep Constitution as a weak spot, Intelligence. We can up the strength if you want, Katniss. Why would you want her strength to improve? And that's not a loaded question. Whatever your reason is, your reason. I'm simply curious. We can keep her intelligence at a 12 and strength to a 17. I personally have no problem with it, but I want to know what's going on in your noggin. While you're considering that, there's a couple other things that we can do. We're not talking about touching Dex. Dex is a +2 modifier, and so initiative is a Dex check. So we have a +2. Ta-da! Pardon me. Still have a little bit of this old Fezziwig, apparently. Makes it that much more of a chance, pardon, in case we get a low roll, that strength being higher doesn't get added to the roll. No, Katniss, you're correct. A higher number will mean a higher likeliness of succeeding on something that's strength-based, whether it's an attack or a skill check. But I'm not looking at the mechanics. I'm looking at what is the reason for giving her more strength over intelligence, let's say. Why would she focus to improve her body that way instead of her mind? And again, it's not a loaded question. You might have a different perspective on this character than I do, and that's absolutely wonderful. Armor class is going to be variable. We may or may not have a shield. We may or may not be in wild shape form. And by the time you're level 17, you probably don't have your starting leather armor or thereabouts. So armor class is going to be whatever it's going to be. Our wisdom can't get any higher. And so this is going to be a 5. And that's going to give us a 5 animal handling, insight, and perception. Oh, and at this level we have a +6 proficiency bonus. Woo, forgot to fill that in. 11 to our saving throw, to medicine and survival. I just think Dragonborn are the stronger types that the group can more rely on if she's in the group. Okay. We can do that. Let's put it up to a 17. She's a strong copper Dragonborn. People say, oh, copper's a weak metal. Send them to me. This is going to make our strength 3. Constitution's -1. Intelligence is 1. And charisma is 1. So our strength saving throw is 3. And our athletics is 9. Dex is 2 down the line from saving throw to the skills. Constitution saving throw is a -1. Strong and wise makes her a better group player. I'm on board with it, Kat. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, in a negative way. I wanted to know your thought process. And you know what? It makes sense. Let's apply it. Intelligence, we have a 7 saving throw, 7 nature, and a 1 to everything else. And charisma, we have a 1 to our saving throw and to all of our charisma skills. We're not proficient. Our passive perception is 10 plus our perception modifier, so 15. That measures our natural awareness around us. Our current hit points. At level 1, you get the full hit die value of what your class's hit die is. For a druid, it's a d8, so we get 8 hit points at level 1. For the remaining 16 levels of our 17, because we already got our first level hit points, we have 16 times half plus 1 of our hit die. That's going to be 5. Half of 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then for all of our levels, all 17, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier, which, ooh, this is actually going to be a -17. So here we have 80. So 8. This is going to bring this to a -9. And we have 71 hit points at level 17 with this character. She has a fragile constitution. Raven would ask me the same thing when I was making a character to play with. There's negatives because one of our scores did not... at 10 and 11, your modifier is 0. 12, 13 is 1, 14, 15, so every 2, you're getting pluses. Thereby, 9 and 8 is a -1. 7, 6 is a -2, etc., going back down. Using 10, 11 as the neutral 0 point. Spell slots 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 1. And by the way, I don't know if any of you out there have any of you played a low or negative constitution character before. I would challenge you to do so. It is a lot of fun. It is a viable character. And you know what? There's a lot of anime characters too. If we want to go back to anime, there's a lot of anime characters that have a similar set of circumstances that are all super badass characters. Yep, because your bonus hit points is equal to your constitution modifier, and our constitution modifier is a -1. We are dipping into that fire water a little bit too much as an Outlander here to this civilized society. For attacking with a strength weapon, we are swinging at a +9 because we have muscles. If we are swinging with a dex weapon or shooting a dex weapon, it's at a +8 because that is our dex plus our proficiency. If we're casting a spell as we cast off of wisdom, that is a +11 to attack, and to resist the effects of our spells, our enemies need a 19 or better. Our difficulty class is 19. To save against our breath weapon is actually based off of con. And so, this is 5 plus 8 is 13. Not offhand. I have no... Cat, I could have asked you. I have no idea why he's going to Southern California after work. He made it sound like it was a really long drive, but I don't know why he would be going down that way. Oh, okay. Fair enough. You had me worried, like, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know where Raven went. Do you know, Maddie? I'm like, I don't. I hope it's okay. Safe travels and all. Did I still needed a trinket for this character. Shukan, are you still here? Oh, he's not leaving yet. Oh, okay. Sounds like a long drive. I hope we get some good sleep. California is a very long state. Okay. Katniss, can you roll a percentile in chat for me, please? Exclamation point 1D100. I still need to give this character a trinket. Stops on a 30. All right. This character is all but finished now. We come down here. It was a 19 to save versus our spell effects, a plus 11 to hit. Our druid level is 17, plus our wisdom of 5. So we can prepare 22 spells on top of the ones we're already getting here through our wildfire magic. Pardon. And you can load any combination of the 22 anywhere you have a slot to cast. And the final piece of her story, as we're telling it, well, she's also earned a name, by the way. We're going to go to the trinkets section and find out what she found on a successful hunt or perhaps on a trip through nature that perhaps set her on this path. And what was rolled? She does not have a name, no, Katniss. Neither does her other character. I simply named him Kid just to have a file name. Katniss, you discovered that she found trinket number 30 that could have been some kind of a life-influencing or an auspicious thing on a hunt or out in nature that probably could have sent her from her home village to this haughty-taughty city of rich folk and disparity and all that. Trinket number 30 is... Well, I'm going to keep 30. A blank book whose pages refuse to hold ink, chalk, graphite, or any other substance or marking. So, oh boy. You want an excuse to go to a rich magical academy? You found maybe a pristine book even after a wildfire. Maybe it wasn't consumed in the heat, and it cannot be marked by ash of fire or by charcoal or ink or anything. Katniss, you rolled an awesome trinket for her that would have led her from the wilds as an Outlander from her tribe to go and live in this magical academy city. That is actually so spooky how the story wrote itself here and how she came to be. And while we're here, I forgot to go back to look at the trinket of our first druid that we created together. The one who had a botched, who gave his life to save his loved one, and the loved one became the wildfire spirit as well, so they were kind of consumed in whatever happened. He was given the favor of an admirer, which could be a clue to his past. Let's check it out. What could this mean? What is number 42? A rank insignia from a lost legionnaire. I think this builds his backstory more, and if not his and or hers, in his prior life. I think this is a strong clue that a character who's trying to find his past can take. An anonymous person gave him this pin. Who is this person? I don't even recognize the insignia. No one seems to understand it. But maybe the people like on the council. The people in the council do. This is really fun. And I love how this stuff just comes together naturally. All we need are a couple dice rolls and some imagination. But you know what, my friends? It's about that time to hit the old dusty trail.